Hey, welcome back to Almost Inevitable Design, and today we're going to do something about mouse hovers. Now, a couple of things to talk about before we get into this. I haven't been making videos in quite a while, and that's because I was making a whole new course about contact forms, and we can talk about that later. But keep a lookout, sign up for the newsletter, and I will send you maybe a coupon or at least updates. All right, so mouse overs. See, this is what we're going to learn how to, this is what we're going to make today. I have coded everything, so you don't have to worry about the actual codes itself. And this is what we get. We can get this. Now, I do know that Divi has released in their 3.16, I think, version hover modules with hover actions. That's great, but it's not the exact same thing as what we're doing here. And another thing is that this is for the mouse. It's on desktop. If you go into mobile, it will do this. So I think there's still a little bit to explore, and I think this behavior makes a lot more sense in the context the data is being viewed. So yeah, I think on mobile it should look like that, and on desktop it should hover. Okay, so that is what we're going to do today, and that is why I think, even though, and I started doing this about a month, I started this post about a month ago, and Divi just came out with that, and I'm like, but still, if you think about the context of how the content is being viewed, it's important to actually make it properly responsive, because on the phone this looks really bad. All right, so to start off, you're going to need a couple of things, and one of them is a child theme. You're going to need a child theme, and on my website there is a child theme, so you can download that. I've tested it all the way, but I'll just make sure that it's fine. It'll probably be fine. So yeah, it's a child theme. You can get this, or you can make your own child theme. Start your own child theme with child theme configurator. That's spelled wrong, but this one, child theme configurator plugin. Use this to make your own child theme, and you'll be fine. All right. So we got that, and oh, by the way, just a advertisement plug. If you want to learn how to make Divi more responsive, because the way that I'm making this hover action responsive, you learn the psychology, the approach that I take to make things responsive in this class, and it's a very comprehensive class, so look that up. All right, so now that you got the child theme, this is what I'm going to give you. In the post itself, I will have a zip file for you, and that will have all these images just for you to play around with. I'll give you a JSON file for you to upload and just be on your way. These photos are all from this guy, Steve Rowe, I think, or something. Yeah, I think he takes a lot of really cool urban night images with neon lights and stuff from Japan and Korea. So yeah, I just went with all his photos just to keep it, themed, which is not important. All right, and if you have the child theme that you downloaded, you will be getting something similar to this. And this is the functions PHP file that I use at the moment. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to add this. Now, this is on the post. All right, so if you found this video directly on YouTube, go to the description below and go to the link, and you'll go to my website, and it will have this piece of code for you to copy and paste. Okay, so this is what you need. Now, this is a jQuery function. It just adds jQuery. Now I named it Universal Mouse Hover. I used to, when I first made this action for a website that I was building at work, it was for just the blurb blurb module. Oh, by the way, these are all blurb modules. Yeah. So blurb modules. and I just made them so it will target just the blurb modules. And in this case, I made it so it'll target any module that you want. Okay, it'll do that to any module that you want. Now, it's up to you whether you can change this to etpb blurb. Oops, should spell it properly. Where's the B? Oh, there it is. etpb blurb. You can do that. All right, that's going to take a while. Yeah, module. I'll leave it as module, which means anytime mouse hovers over a module, it will add the class Beethoven. Now, why is it Beethoven? Because it is Roll Over Beethoven by Chuck Berry. That's a song. And we are actually going to use Chuck Berry to pair it with Beethoven, so we won't have any random things happening here and there. Okay? All right, so we get this jQuery in here. Okay? And as I said, if you want it to be just this part and to keep the jQuery controlled a little bit more, you can just change this to blurb and it'll do pretty much the same thing. All right. Now, the way that we're using this is that this dark box is actually part of the description in the blurb module. And the way that it's built is normally it is under, the text is under the image itself, right? What we're doing here is we're making absolute positioning. So the whole blurb itself is relatively positioned, and the image and the text are all absolutely positioned and then given an opacity of 0. So if the mouse hovers over something, then it will change. It will allow us to change the opacity easily. All right. So where'd that file go? Oh, here it is. Don't save. All right. So nope. Okay. So what I'm doing here is, and you will get this file, all right? Now it looks overwhelming. It's not. It's just because I'm adding a lot of, I'm just doing a lot of good housekeeping in terms of vendor prefixes and everything. And it's just made exactly the way I want it to be made, because I use this in some other build at work. All right, so, and of course it has all the responsive media queries, as you can see here. Okay, so let me explain what's going on here. I'll show you the build first. Here we go. So we don't need the divider, that's not important, and I will give you this section in JSON file, and as you can see, they're all blurbs, and inside the blurb you get the title and you get this. This is a text. It can be an H5. You can change it, and if you change it, I think this will be, I'm not sure. I wonder if I have H5 here. Oh yeah, so we're using H5s here. You can change, if you change this, make sure you change it in the CSS file as well, or just leave it as H5. Yeah. And inside the thing, we added this as the button. Now the reason why I use an anchor tag, that's what links are, anchor tags. That's the A. The reason why I use anchor tags and not the oh no, yeah, the reason why I add this is because it doesn't have a button, right? Now this URL will allow the thing to send you somewhere, wherever you need, and it will also, if you don't want this to do, if you don't want the whole blurb to do it, then just leave that as an hashtag or octothorpe, and then put in whatever you want here. There you go. Yeah, right. So you can do something like that. Now we'll leave it as this. We'll leave it as blurb link in the class, and of course the image goes here. Yep. And here we go, Chuck Berry. Yeah. So the reason why I gave it Chuck Berry is it will target. This means that you can use your blurbs regularly any way you want, and then if you want to do this cool thing here with the mouse overs, then you can just add Chuck Berry to it, and then it will give it a Beethoven rollover. I have a lot of those small inside jokes. So the way that the CSS is made is only if Chuck Berry and Beethoven meet, then the blurb container gets an opacity of 1 where it was 0 before, and then it will show the mouse hover, this part, the whole thing, okay? So that's what we're doing here. That's why you can target Chuck Berry. Well, you can include Chuck Berry in the blurb advanced CSS class here, and then the rest will all be done with CSS because jQuery is going to add the Beethoven in there, and then this is going to happen. Okay. Now, I added these transitions just so it'll make it look smoother, and you can change these parts. For example, the way that it's done right now, as you can see, if the mouse goes over, look at the image and see what happens. See, it goes to black and white, but it's not 100% full black and white. It actually retains a little bit of color. As you can see, there's like this really low saturated purple here. It's you know, it's you can see a little bit of the yellow here, right? That's because it is at 80% grayscale. Okay, and it zooms in, which means it's scaling up 10%. So that's what I'm doing right now over here. You can do other stuff if you look into the transform property, and you can do your own stuff if you need to. Okay, if you want to change the color of the button here, if you want to change the text and all that, it's all here. So this right now gives this whole blurb section two fonts, which is Libre Franklin and Oswald. Oswald is a condensed all caps text here, and this is Libre Franklin, and this is also Libre Franklin but in bold, so 700 weight. Okay, so that's what I added here, and that is actually used here and there. As you can see, it says Oswald. If you don't want this, then just delete it. Why is there two 700s? There shouldn't be. Yeah, I'll take that out in the version that you download. That shouldn't be there. Anyway, so that's how that works. And I think that's about it, actually, because I did everything for you already. So I'm just explaining how it works and how it's done. And there's a lot more explanation in the text, so check that out. So basically, you're just downloading the JSON file, uploading it, making a whole section like this, and you're done. Just load up this file. Now, the way that you do this in functions, you can see that I enqueued it like this, main CSS. You have to find your own way of enqueuing this. If you don't want to use, actually you do need to use a child theme, but even if you are or if you aren't, just to add the CSS, you can do it in theme options and it'll still work. Down here, you can add that here. That's fine. You can copy paste this there. But you do need the you do need the jQuery, so might as well. I think there's a way you can actually add the jQuery in integration. I think. Maybe. Yeah. So if you want to add this to the integration, just don't use a PHP function like this. Just copy out the script like that, and that'll do the same thing. Yeah, forgot about that. Yeah. So you don't need a child theme if you really don't want to, but I strongly suggest using a child theme. It's like future-proofing your developments. You will, later on have to use it, probably, most likely. There are two heights in here. Why is everything double? I wonder why. Oh, maybe it's because I'm using a mix-in. Oh well. Anyways, so I'll clean that up. Anyway, so that's how you add the jQuery. You can add it here if you want, or you can add it to the functions as you've seen, and then add the CSS, and you'll be done. All right. So these blurbs, like I said, take Chuck Berry as a class, and once Chuck Berry meets Beethoven, you'll have a cool mouse over. All right. Oh, by the way, these images are squares. So these images are squares, and this is at a ratio of 2 to 1. Okay, and they will stretch 100%. I added that to CSS. They'll stretch out 100%. So that'll be fine. But if the width and height ratio is different between these images, then you're going to have a little bit of problem of alignment. So just make sure you resize everything properly in Photoshop or whatever image editing program you use. Okay? All right, I think that's about it. I will see you in the next video. Sign up for my newsletter for a lot of cool stuff, and see you in another video. Bye-bye.